This notion that this conference has some sort of mysterious power where it's harder to win on the road in the SEC than it is at other places is false. It's false. That's bias, that's narrative, and don't buy it. You know where it's hard to win? At really good teams. It's hard to win at Clemson, but they're not in the SEC, Joel. Yeah, but they've won 37 straight. It was tough for Clemson to win at Wake Forest on the road. League road games are tough across the board. Ask Iowa State, who rolled into the booth and got beat by Kansas. You bet it. You bet it. I cannot stand this narrative that all of a sudden in that conference it's harder to win on the road. Missouri's no good. They got housed by Kansas State by 28 points. 28. Granted, it wasn't at Missouri, but still, 28? And all of a sudden, Kirby Smart's going to go out there and quite frankly lobby everyone around the country by saying like, oh, don't think down on us. It's really hard. It's really hard. Michigan's win at Iowa was much better than Georgia's win at Missouri. Not even close. So I started my second tier by putting Georgia number 5 because you can't play like this in a snapshot poll. Remember, this is October 22nd, or excuse me, October 2nd. This is a snapshot. You cannot play the way that they've played over the last 2 weeks, regardless of what they did week 1, and stay at number 1 or in the top tier, frankly, which is why they fell out of the top tier and landed at the bottom of my second tier. Kent State got beat by OU by 30 and by Washington by 25. And Kent State was in a 10-point game with Georgia in Athens early in the fourth quarter. Georgia ends up beating them by 17. Okay, maybe you can explain that away. It's like, hey, they just didn't play great that day. All right. You know what? I'll buy that. I'll buy that. And guess what? I did buy that. And in my snapshot last week, it didn't affect Georgia. But then they rolled out there and didn't have a lead against Missouri until the 4-minute mark of the fourth quarter. So don't all of a sudden start throwing around this garbage like it's tougher to win at Missouri than it is in other places. It's not tougher to win at Missouri than it is at Wake Forest or at Iowa, which is exactly what the other two teams in my tier 2 did over the last couple of weeks.